I'm Birgit from Koba.Siani. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I have a new pattern for you, and that's the t-shirt Mila, what I'm wearing here. It is quite a feminine and elegant t-shirt with gatherings at the side seams and cuffs here. And it's suitable for elastic jersey or knit fabrics. The pattern Mila is available in all my shops. The links are below this video here. In this video I'm working with an overlock sewing machine, and I must confess that I'm not the person who has overlock stitching yarn cones in every color. I'm working only with these 4 neutral colors all the time. So for this pink fabric I've chosen the beige color, and due to this yarn situation, of course, I'm a little bit limited in my hemming method. So in my case I made the hems in a zigzag stitch with my normal sewing machine, but if you have your stitching yarn in exactly the same color as your fabric, of course you have more possibilities than me here. But I'll also talk about this in detail during the video tutorial. But now, let's start with the sewing tutorial. Have fun! Okay, so let's start with cutting the fabric. The grain line in jersey fabrics is the direction of the tiny stitches in the fabric. The lower edge, which you're seeing here, is the selvage of the fabric, and now I'm cutting one piece after the other. Here I'm starting with the back. The center back is the fold, as you can see. The next pattern piece is the front, and again the center front is the fold. Then comes the sleeve. This we need twice, and as you can see I can still fit my sleeves beside of the front and back. It can be that this is not the case for your size. Then I'm cutting the upper part of the front, or the strap. This one we need 4 times. Then follows the cup part. This one I'm cutting again twice as a pair. Then I'm cutting the pattern pieces for the back neck workmanship. This is the visible piping, and here the grain line is parallel to the short side, means to the center back. The second piece we need for the back neckline is the inside piping. You could cut this out of the main fabric, but here with the grain line parallel to the long side, or as I'm doing it here, in a contrasting fabric, even a woven fabric is possible. In this case, the pattern piece should be bias cut. Afterwards, I'm transferring all the notches onto the wrong fabric side. I'm using here, by the way, a special fabric pen where the color dissolves with water. As a first sewing step, we will now close the dividing seam between the main front part and the straps of the front. And I cast the lower edge of the second pair of straps we have. These are going to be inside. Before we'll start sewing, just a few words to the machine settings. I'm using 2 needles here, means 4 sewing threads. The left needle should have a distance to the edge of 7 mm. This is also our seam allowance included here. These needles should have a ball point for jersey fabrics, and the size should also match to the fabric. As I'm working with a very fine viscose jersey here, I'm using size 80. Please also make sure that the differential feet of your machine is matching to your fabric. In any case, it's a good idea to make some test seams on fabric rests. As soon as everything is prepared, I can start sewing now. I'm making here the seams I've showed you before. Afterwards, I'm just quickly ironing the seams flat. The seam allowance should point downwards here. And we are continuing with the iron. This stripe here is the visible back neckline piping. I'm folding it lengthwise into the half with the wrong fabric side to the inside, and then I'm ironing it. This one we will add now to the back part. I'm only fixing the beginning of the seam with pins because we have to move this under the sewing machine. Moving in this case means that where the neckline curve is strong, means at the beginning and at the end, we have to pull the neckline piping while sewing. Around the center back, where the curve is rather flat, I'm pulling less. In any case, the piping pattern piece is longer than the neckline, so it doesn't matter if the edges align at the beginning of the seam or not. The fact that I'm pulling the neckline while sewing during the strong curves will have the result that later it will lie flat and nicely. Now I'm adding the inside piping, which will cover up the seam. I'm putting my fabric stripe with the right fabric side downwards along the edge of the seam. Here you see this a little bit closer. We will stitch soon at the side with the main part and just along the original seam here. This stitching I'm doing with my regular sewing machine, and again here I've inserted a needle with a jersey ballpoint. As you can see here, the right edges of both pieces align, and I'm stitching logically with a seam allowance of 7 mm. Then I'm ironing the back neckline. At first the inside piping downwards, then from the right fabric side also in general the piping seam. And now I'm folding and ironing the inside piping around my overlock seam so that it will be covered up completely. Afterwards I can stitch down the inside piping along the lower edge. Now it's time to make the cups. At first we have to gather the outer layer, which you see at the left side of the points. We will gather the distance between these notches here, this is only the center front, and these notches here. For this gathering seam I'm setting the stitch length to the maximum. This in general is my gathering technique. Here is the link to the detailed video tutorial. So I'm setting now the gathering stitchings just tightly along the edge, perhaps 4 mm, in between the notches which I've shown you before. And now when I'm pulling at one of the two threads, my piece is gathered. Now I'm folding my cup along an imaginary line between the 2 points at the top and at the bottom, with the wrong fabric side to the inside. And as you can see now, at the ungathered side of the cup there are also notches, and these have to align with those at the gathered part. To hold these layers together, I'll soon stitch tight along the open edges of this piece. But before, I'm marking the center front at the outer layer also to the right fabric side. Now I'm fixing the cup layers, and the reason why I'm stitching this tightly along the edge is that this seam should be covered later by the overlock seam. This is how it looks like at the moment. Now we will make the front neckline and close the cup seam in one step. There are a lot of thread ends which are bothering me, so I'm just quickly cutting them off. Here I'm starting by pinning the inside straps, right fabric side to right fabric side, to the main front part. Then I'm pinning all the notches for the center front on top of each other. then I'm starting with the cups. That's a little bit complicated. These notches here at the strap is the beginning of the cup. And in this area, at the top corner of the cups, I'm putting the cups in between the inner strap and the outer layer. The aim is to have a clean upper edge, as you can see it here on the ready shirt. Then I'm going on with the rest of the cup seam. Now that's a little bit hard to see, but basically I'm just pinning the cups right fabric side to right fabric side to my main front piece. As these are opposite roundings, you are only seeing now this fabric mess here. I just wanted to show you the area around the top edge of the cup. Here is the notch at the strap, and in fact this one marks the meeting point of the ready cup edge with the cup linking seam line. So I'm pinning the upper point of the cup a little bit above the notch. Now I know that's a little bit confusing, so I'll show you again with a sketch. Here is my front part with the notch of the cup beginning in red. In the next sketch I've added the cup in blue with the seam line of the neckline in black. Here you can see now that the red notch marks the crossing point of the neckline seam line and the upper edge of the cup, but notch has nothing to do with the upper point of the cup. So I hope this was clear now and we can make now the seam. With this seam I'm guiding with it from elastic tape. This is really important to stabilize especially the upper neckline, otherwise it would be too loose. It is also important to say that I don't stretch out the materials while sewing, neither the fabric nor the elastic tape. This seam can get a little bit complicated, especially in the cup area, so I'm sewing very slowly and taking my time. I'm sewing with the inside layer on top. That means you see here the inside strap and soon also the inner layer of the cups. Oh my god, what a seam! Now I can finally breathe again. Here I'm just quickly controlling if there's any mistake in my seam. And oh no, there is one. The previous stitching is visible, and also at the inside I have some failed stitchings. As I'm too lazy to make this seam all over again, I'm just correcting this with my regular sewing machine. So I'm just stitching over the areas which weren't nice in the first place. Yippee, better! Afterwards I'm just ironing flat the neckline and the cup seam. Time to make the shoulders. At first I'm cutting off all the excess fabric from the pipings. By the way, this is only one of many methods to make the shoulders. I just found that this works best for me. Here I'm pinning together the front and back part along the shoulders with a special attention at the neckline. Because I like to fix both layers with my normal sewing machine with a very short seam at the neckline, so that both layers won't slip later under the overlock sewing machine. This is what you see here. I'm just placing short seams as bar tacks in the neckline area. Of course, I'm sewing with a seam allowance of 7 mm, so that this short seam is later a part of the main overlock seam. Afterwards, I'm closing the shoulders with my overlock sewing machine.
Another possibility to make the shoulders would be to sew the back shoulder layer in between the front shoulder layers. Afterwards, I have to thread in the seam ends of the overlock seam into the overlock seam, but just the end at the neckline. As a last step at the shoulders, I'm now fixing with the short seam the seam allowance to the back. Now we'll close the armhole seam. At first I'm pinning the sleeves to the body, aligning all notches, right fabric side to right fabric side, and please make sure that each sleeve is in the right position. Here I'm making these seams. At the shoulders, please take care that the shoulder seam allowance is laying to the back, because this is the same direction where we've put it already in the neckline area. When we close the side seam with its gatherings, this is again only one option to do it. I just found out that for me this is the best one. But of course you're free to do it in another way. At first I'm putting both layers right fabric side on right fabric side together and I'm aligning the notches along the side seams. We'll gather the side seam in between the outer notches, so there is where I'm placing a gathering seam. For this seam, again, I'm setting the stitch length to the maximum. And then I'm sewing with this long stitch very tightly along the edges, in between the outer notches. By the way, I'm sewing through both layers now. To stabilize the gathering at the side seam, we're adding again a from elastic tape here. Just cut it first in the length of the side seam. We will fix first this tape from the armhole down to the first notch at the side seam. It is important to fix this tape on the same side as I'm doing it here, so that we can sew later both side seams or sleeve seams in the same direction, from the sleeve hem down to the body hem. Here is again a closer view. I'm stitching now on the elastic tape from the armhole seam down to the first side seam notch. And this I'm doing with my regular sewing machine with a straight stitch just tightly along the edge. I'm preparing the side seam like this to have 100% control over the gathering and the elastic tape position, but of course you're also free to start with the overlock seam directly. Now I'm preparing the gathering. I'm measuring from the top notch down 23 centimeters on the elastic tape and marking this. Then I'm aligning this point with the lowest notch. The extra width in the fabric between those two notches has to be gathered now. I'm distributing the extra width equally and fixing the elastic tape with pins to the fabric. Another option to gather the side seam would be to stretch out the elastic tape strongly while sewing the side seam. Now I can close the sleeve seam and the side seam in one step, and each seam I'm beginning at the sleeve hem and ending at the body hem. Now it's time to make a quick fitting. I'm checking if the sleeve length and sleeve width is okay and if the width at the body is okay. Because before hemming our t-shirt we still have the possibility to change these details. As soon as the fit is satisfying, we can prepare now the hem. I'm folding and ironing the hem edges at the body and the sleeves 2 cm to the wrong fabric side and then securing this with pins. For sewing the hem, again, there are many possibilities. In my case, I'm choosing a zigzag stitching with my regular sewing machine, and here I'm using a Teflon sewing foot because this one glides very well above the jersey fabric, so the transport is quite good, even if there is no differential transport here. Another option for the hem would be, for example, a cover stitch sewing machine if you have one. You can also work with an elastic sewing thread and a straight stitching. And you can also play around with the thread tension of the overlock sewing machine and then create an elastic hem like this. At the end, I'm just cutting off the thread ends and I'm pressing the hem again because there are little waves in the fabric now from the seam.
I hope you've enjoyed the tutorial. Give me a thumbs up here on YouTube and subscribe to my channel, of course. If you like to, you can also follow me on social media. I'm on Facebook, Instagram and Pinterest to see more creative content from my side. If you have any questions, of course, feel free to contact me. You can write me an email, for example, to info@Koba.Siani.com. I'll be glad to help you. I'm looking forward to see you very soon again in my next video. Until then, take care. Bye!